starting a new web or mobile app, it is important to be sure about the architecture and infrastructure on which the program will run. It is the frame for your software, it sets the certain place for every piece of code, it also defines the way the code communicates and also how the user can interact with the software. In many applications and especially on websites, you have the front-end code that runs on the user's device, the back-end code that runs on the server, and additionally some services like a database, an authentication system or other APIs. I use my GeoGuessr application as an example for this tutorial series. There, the architecture looks like this. The front end is what the user sees, as it will run on the web, iOS and Android. It has 3 slightly different code bases. The web version will run via Firebase hosting on the user's web browser. The Android and iOS version will run as an app on the user's device. For further functions like interaction with the database, I added a backend. It is written in Python and there's only one version. It runs on a GTP server and communicates with the front end via HTTP requests. The HTTP requests are set up with a Flask server in the Python code. Additionally to the front end and the back end, I use APIs for Google Maps and for Firebase authentication. Firebase authentication does the user management, like storing user data and keeping passwords safe. The difference between APIs and my backend is that I don't need to care for their architecture and code. That's done by the creators of the APIs. I just address them via HTTP requests. As that are sometimes paid services, you may need to add an API key to the HTTP requests, but more about this in a later video. Just to mention it, the separation of the frontend and backend is not always needed. It helps to make the frontend perform better, especially when the user runs it on a weak machine, because the frontend code uses the user's resources and the backend code runs on the server. You can also optimize the backend for special applications like running a neural network. In the next video I will tell you which software and hardware you need and give you some tips and best practices on how to work more efficient with it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.